Even in your backyard where you can put.
Congratulations.
And give me lessons.
The months here, yeah. That's my son. This is. You got a great job.
Baby's just giving me anxiety so far, so.
Oh my gosh, I can't get enough of them. They live outside.
Or-
So.
Or one.
Once a week or so.
Yeah.
Or one. Oh, we didn't always have one of the most. And one time. My ex was on Jefferson Station.
And I'm not talking about it.
And still all right. Now you go.
Yeah.
By math, five is sufficient, right?
Yes, I just need a minute because this popped off.
Okay, oh, yeah.
And then it's really on that side, so this side.
Oh, look at that. Oh, I feel so special. Look at this. I don't move more corner myself.
And you're up.
Yeah. I go taller than everybody else. Well, I'll get competition now on the screen.
So now.
Sorry. Gotta entertain myself. Yeah, they should.
All right, I think we should be okay whenever you would like to send the chairman.
All right. In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, please note the following. Skipping this evening, October 12th, all planning board meetings will be held in person in the meeting hall on the second floor of the Bernardsville Municipal Building at 166 Minebrook Road. Meetings will be live streamed on YouTube, but with no opportunity for public comment. Members of the public wishing to offer comments or ask questions will be required to attend meetings in person. YouTube live stream access for all meetings is at https://www.youtube.com at Bernardsville Borough /streams. This link will also be available on the agenda for each meeting, which is posted on the Borough website and on the Borough Hall Public Bulletin Board for at least 48 hours prior to the meetings. Notice of these changes is also been emailed to the Bernardsville News and Courier News by posting the copy on the Borough website and by filing the copy with the municipal clerk all on October 5th, 2023. It's the intention of the board not to continue any matter past 11 p.m. at any regular or special meeting of the board unless motions passed by the members then present to extend to a later specified cutoff time, and same shall be announced at the open of each meeting. In addition, the board does not intend to begin a new hearing after 10 p.m. or begin testimony of a new witness after 10:30 p.m. Any hearing conducted by the board is a quasi judicial proceeding. Any questions or comments must be limited to issues that are relevant to what the board may legally consider in reaching a decision. Decorum appropriate to a judicial hearing must be maintained at all times. Roll call.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Mayor Knos here. Ms. Gardner is absent. Mr. Graham,
Here.
Mr. Horowitz is absent. Ms. Kellogg here. Mr. McMillan. Absent. Mr. McQueen,
Here.
Mr. Otto,
Here.
and Mr. Simoff.
Here.
You have a quorum, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. The meeting minutes will be forthcoming. Next meetings. Some communications, we have the ordinance, the 1979 ordinance for smoking, the 1981 ordinance for accessory dwellings, and a letter prepared by Karen Topol of Eco Sciences regarding the freshwater wetlands LOI for block 23, lot 401, that's the Claremont property. I see no visitors. Old business, just an update, the Equinet Properties, application is being continued, to November 16th.
With the applicant required to renotice since we weren't able to successfully
They
announce
will
a
be.
continuation at the last meeting.
Okay. Did we have anyone that had to listen to anything to be?
The first thing.
We did, and now you're.
Yes, and we've already
I
discussed
see
that.
you're eligible. for that, so.
Great, all the experts gonna be here for Equinet again, just because I don't think we really got a chance to question everybody that was there in completion, or I don't remember where we left off, my memory went a little crazy there. That's understandable.
Yeah, well, that night it was just a business planner's testimony, correct?
No, the engine.
Oh, yes, sorry, yeah, the engineer, yes.
I think it's still be bringing.
I didn't hear the architect.
And the architect wasn't finished.
Right.
Correct, yeah. But
But
the
I don't think they
architect,
finished with McDonough either, the planner.
Yeah, no, he's just barely got started, yeah.
I think they're all gonna tie back together, so I'll let them know that.
Bring the whole team.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure that's communicated.
Okay, so new business, the D26 master plan consistency review for ordinance 2023-1979. This one prohibits smoking in outdoor dining areas in the downtown districts and it amends Article 12 of the Borough Code entitled zoning. Now, we did review this, right? And then
Yeah,
that became.
What we've
Find
added
it?
is the definition of smoking, so
Oh, okay.
including vaping,
Okay.
and chewing tobacco and anything that could be construed as
As
smoking.
Okay.
So it's just that one little section that anything that's inhaled. What we ban.
Okay.
So they find a better way to do it. They'll find
They'll probably will, and we'll find a better way to find it.
That's right.
Or at least so good. Well, I'm sure, who knows? Any other discussion? I mean, that caught us up, I think.
So you have a resolution in front of you that will declare it not inconsistent with the master plan. But any motion to adopt that resolution should be made with the one edit that the public hearing for the ordinance was held tonight and not September 28th, because we had to carry it from the
Yeah.
last
Okay.
agenda.
All right, anyone want to move the motion?
I'll make the motion with the edit. Second.
Roll call?
Mayor Knows,
Yeah.
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
Ms. Kellogg,
Yeah.
Mr. McQueen,
Yes.
Mr. Otto,
Yes.
and Mr. Simoff.
Yes.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, twice.
Okay, it passes. The next item is the D26 master plan consistency review for ordinance number 2023-1981. It's making detached accessory dwelling units. Is it dwelling units or dwellings units a permitted use in the R1 and R110 zones and supplementing and amending Article 12 of the Borough Land Development Regulation entitled zoning. Now, this one, we also was
Yes,
revised.
But we took your advice.
Yeah,
Yes, the council agreed with you that it should be in, not have to go to the Board of Adjustment, so
okay,
people can just do it.
You took that a conditional use section, which would mean that they would have to make application to the planning board, they would make full condition. If they did the E3 expansion or not, a conditional use not compliant, would go to the Board of Adjustment. Now this is by right. The only question I have is, what standards, I'm putting on my zoning hat,
yeah.
what standards do we apply to an accessory dwelling?
I thought we had some.
Well, there are definitely some, if you,
Density, FAR, those are things that I don't know.
not in building wise.
And setbacks, but what setbacks do I apply to the accessory structure or principal setbacks?
I thought when we discussed it, didn't we
I
say
don't remember, I just wanted to
existing
be
zoning
Yeah,
would be the definition for that? And that would make it as of right, and, but we weren't trying to rewrite the book there on that.
no, I think it's whatever the existing zoning is.
Those
Yeah.
setbacks,
Well, are you saying that, well, it might be different for accessory building than a garage, than specifically?
being zoned for a minute, because I do this and it's like a little
Yeah,
clarification, but I understand what you're doing, it's fine. What you're trying to do is memorialize those units that are there. But
Correct.
but if I want to create a house as an accessory dwelling for someone, and I know we define it in the code, how big can that be? I mean, I guess it's
And
like,
what you
but
said.
if you have a 10-acre site, you could have two
Right.
sizable homes.
But for a new one, you still have to go through, right, new construction, wouldn't you have to go to the planning board for, if you were gonna build a 3-car garage on your property?
No, but if it was
No.
accessory dwelling,
yeah.
I want to build a house.
No, that's a building permit, they would go.
It's building,
It's a building permit, but then
they'd be subject to like septic and, you know, all the things. that-
And then stormwater and all that.
that I understand.
floor area.
How big? It could be quite large on a 10-acre, 25-acre site.
I thought there's a limit on the size, there is a limit. in the ordinance.
Yeah, I thought the intention of this was just for the garages.
The floors, I think there was
Well, it's
a
in,
limit on floors,
whatever.
ground area and floor space, or was that a limit in total? Total floor space, it's definitely, I think it was 1,500. It was
We
something,
did, I know there's a limit on it, I just.
We're good.
unless it got removed.
No, the only thing we changed was just where it was located, so that it's not. Conditional use.
So within that ordinance, is there a square footage limit?
We check it, there was, I don't know if there is
I don't
now.
think there is.
The way I read it right now, we apply the floor area ratio requirement to both combined to the site, so I guess that's regulation. Setbacks would be, I would apply principal dwelling setback, because I don't know whether.
You can't build a 6,000 square foot
Yeah.
house. There was a square footage limit and there was an occupancy limit in the ordinance.
Yeah.
So did they get removed?
No, the occupancy.
It has the ordinance here. It's not there.
We
Got
had an
removed that.
occupancy of, no, this is just the short version. I think this is just what,
Oh, this is a resolution.
yeah. If the actual ordinance, I think we limited it to.
It was 4 people.
Yeah,
And the square footage was relatively, I mean, it was like 1,500 square feet.
yeah. I remember going.
Yeah, I was able to get online again, and mentioned it here, so I'm looking at thousands of my.
Yeah, because I don't think we changed anything else other than making it going from non-conditional to conditional.
Obviously, we can't push forward something allowed to go 2,000.
Yeah.
What we'll do is
Well, I mean,
whatever applies to accessory structure, can be applied to this, to this.
Well, that's true, but there was something in that ordinance that talked, the actual ordinance that talked to square footage. I recollected and Mary Jane recollected it as well.
I remember the 4 people.
There was an occupancy limit and there was a square footage limit. And you bring up the other point that, and it should comply with any accessory building limits is.
Is that on the excerpt?
I think it's just.
So I think where I'm says here is I should have gone back to the original ordinance that had all that in there and this narrative.
Yeah.
We're just amending that one section. We didn't, I'm just being cautious.
Oh, and I'm trying to pull up the ordinance, for some reason my internet is being.
It's just that I'm looking, I'm putting myself in the zoning officer's shoes and what
Yeah.
applies to, I just want to be clear from the record what standards and so the answer is. Whatever applies to accessory structure to apply to this, you can decide and everything else, and then whatever requirements were in the original, so all we're doing, pulling this out of conditional use, which makes a lot of sense. I mean, you need to, you shouldn't have to make it.
I don't remember there being, and maybe it's in the accessory structures, I don't remember there being a limit on stories,
There's a height limit,
but there's an overall height
there's a
limit
height limit, so I don't have
on accessory.
Does it make sense to make sure that there's no question about it, that we run through a test scenario of a 10-acre lot that's got an existing 5,000 square foot home on it, and what would be the largest they can build? Just running through the scenario, just to make sure that the numbers don't come out Insane? Right? Say,
No, I mean, look, this is one that I was never a huge fan
I'm not a fan of it, and I read through the R1 residence district and
Well,
110.
Just so that the record's clear, so that the zoning officer knows, there's section 12-23.1 talks about accessory buildings. And that would be the applicable standards that I would apply. And what it talks about is that you can't exceed the height regulations in the zone, no accessory building wall, for example, in the R1 would be more than 40 feet, can be located in clear nearer than to the side or rear lot than 40 feet. In the R110 is 40, so there's standards in here. I just want to make sure we're finding the right way.
Yeah, I just want to be sure that this ordinance didn't lose some of the text that was in it. That's all.
These would all apply.
Does it have a square foot and occupancy? Well done.
scared.
No. It's not, but then what would regulate that would be, height, setback.
No, no,
And FAR,
really in this-
FAR requirement.
It was in the text of this ordinance.
Yeah, this is just the excerpt of,
We need the actual ordinance to, well, whatever this, this is modified.
2023, 1974.
And sorry, usually my memory is better, but I think this has been carried for like 3 months. This is something that we were doing.
yeah,
I
and
would
it's
say in May.
mainly, what we were trying to do is because people are actually doing this, every estate has a cottage or, a apartment above a garage that they're renting, and we don't have any control over it, so they're not being inspected, we don't know if they're safe, we don't know if they're fire hazards. So if we give them permission to do it, we have the right to inspect it.
What, can you, maybe I missed that meeting where this was first discussed, but why are we treating R1A the 3-acre homesteads and not just the mountain?
It's R1 and R1A, no,
My concern has more to do with the constraints on the environment, having to do with expanding septic systems and water needs. I mean, where there's been instances before when water and septic have been a problem. And I do understand trying to legalize what's there, but I also don't think it's a good idea to encourage everyone in those zones to want to build a rental, so that they're offsetting their taxes or whatnot.
Yeah, but I think what would happen is if they put in for a building application, those things would be looked at and said, sorry, that you can't
No, but I'm saying
have that.
if you have to come to the board for review and it's a conditional use, a lot of people won't try to do that. This is almost just saying, go ahead and do it.
Well, that was your recommendation. So we were just taking your recommendation.
but there's a limit on it. Folks.
What?
The 1,500 square foot is a limit on a detached.
On a detached.
Right.
Current.
We're certain, so that 1,500 is a stipulation. From the ordinance.
Caretaker's apartment is different. I don't know.
There was a
But that could be a
1,500 on
family apartment. that
And there were
would
4
put
and
a
limited
bigger strain
14.
on your septic system, your well.
Well, that would all be reviewed by the health department anyway.
Yes, the health department would say, oh, you want to build something and you want 4 bedrooms, each with their own jacuzzis, then
Wouldn't that be nice?
you're gonna be a pretty big septic. But I just want to be sure it's still there.
Well, to the detached accessory dwelling,
I mean,
the max is 1,500 square feet.
without the full ordinance, we really can't make an adjudication, can
Unless we have this answer resolved.
Just, if I can ask the attorney, you already had a resolution and you approved it with the recommendation that we make it a non-conditional, whichever, I forget which way it goes. So you already did approve it. This is just came back because but we're following your recommendations. So there was a resolution saying it was It's not inconsistent.
Right, that was for a different ordinance that impacted a different zone. I'm confirming that now. So 25. Yeah. R1A is, that's just R5, right? So it looks like as written now. In the R5 zone, it's a conditional, it remains a conditional use in the R5 zone. With the condition that no more than
5 acre.
5 acres, R1.
R1.
With the stipulation or condition in the ordinance that it does not exceed 4 occupants. This ordinance does not have an occupancy limit for adding accessory dwelling units to the R1 and R110 zones. So they're treated, the accessory dwelling unit issue is treated as of if, the council passes this ordinance, it's treated differently in different zones. So there's an occupancy limit in one zone, but wouldn't have an occupancy limit in R1 or R110. It would just be subject to the regulations for accessory structures.
All right, so definitely I'll remember it. I trust your interpretation of it.
I
just don't remember it and conceptually find it inconsistent.
right.
But
what about the R1A?
This is R1 and R1.
That would just be the regulations for regular accessory.
no,
structures.
they can't build a whole nother house up there that's got all this stuff in it. The idea is you can build a rental unit of a certain size. And it's just legalizing what people have been doing with caretaker cottages all along. So it's not, there need to be constraints on it in the ordinance.
The applications got mixed up and confused, what was supposed to go back and forth.
Yeah, it's been hanging around.
All right, it's all covered, it's covered under M1.
Hold on, let this.
And it talks about any permitted R1, R110. More than one principal residence and one detached. You detached and sold use of on-site domestic employees, this is all in here. So the limits are under M and there's one under N also, accessory dwelling unit internal, so we have been covered both ways. 1,500 square foot living area is limited under accessory dwelling unit internal for this way over.
So it applies to all of them.
Correct.
And also,
Even though it's in the conditional use.
That's. Yeah, it shouldn't be there. Should be.
It's gotta be put to the expected.
Yeah, what I would recommend is the regulations are there, just pull out those two sections out of conditional use. Mimic them and put them in the R1, R1A, R1, and medium color. And you don't have to do anything else.
And that's the intent of this resolution.
It's permitted, and then these are the standards that you already have that you incorporate.
But my recollection is the R1A, the 30,000 square foot lot has been added.
It just says R1 and R110.
R1, R1A,
And R110.
The agenda only says.
Oh, did I miss? Actually, I took it from the last agenda, there must have been a typo. Well, no, wait a minute. Here in the ordinance, it says R1 and R110.
Right, it doesn't say R1A.
No, it does not. So then this is correct on the agenda. The agenda represents what it says here.
R1 and R110.
Does not.
But on the,
So it's not,
Right.
that's the sky.
R1A is not in there.
but on the second page of this ordinance,
It's not. But it's making it clear that it's not, you can't have an accessory dwelling in government.
Okay.
That's not true.
So we just need to take those regs and plug them into this.
Yeah, pulling them from the conditional use section of the ordinance and paste them into the accessory structure portion of the ordinance.
There's nothing else needed in the R1A to say this doesn't apply to it, it's pretty self-explanatory.
No, I would think that because there's regulation on point, they would be applied, but I would certainly recommend that the council also do exactly what John said, which is a follow-up ordinance that moves those regulations from a conditional use condition to a requirement for an accessory
So
structure.
the council, in my opinion, with the endorsement of the board, can go ahead with this ordinance. And then just do a supplemental, to just look at that kind of requirement over that. And there's no need to pull it, it's just a matter of whether the council wishes to.
Yeah.
Be clear what the regulation is.
So that would that be that they're finding it consistent or not inconsistent with recommendation to,
Consistent, not inconsistent, that's the statutory language, which was standard. Yes, much different. Not inconsistent, already determined that, that's not an issue. The recommendation is we took it out, and we took it out of the conditional section, that's what the board recommended. There's just one last little piece, and the board, the council can decide to do a supplemental ordinance introduced.
So we basically pass this, but with an annotation that is exactly what his words were, which is we're recommending back to the council that they do this.
Correct.
Got it.
So technically, because you already found the prior ordinance not inconsistent, you can find the new one not inconsistent, but with the recommendation that the correct regulations are moved over.
What you said, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll make sure that's.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so as with these notes,
So moved.
Mary Jane moved, second, roll call,
Mayor Knows,
Yes.
Mr. Graham,
yes.
Ms. Kellogg? No. Mr. McQueen?
Yes.
Mr. Otto?
Yes.
And Mr. Simoff?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Okay.
It's more complicated than it's.
All right, bill list review. Keith Brown.
It's actually the same bill list from the last meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't get any new ones. Actually, we got some new ones late in the day yesterday, but this was already distributed.
So when did this thing, what's the public hearing on this?
That's on the agenda. I think it is the 20.
I'm just kidding.
23rd.
We shall call Mr. David and we'll get it.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
that'd be great.
Any concern on the bill list?
I'll move the bills in the amount of $16,347.
I'll second.
Roll call,
I'm sorry, who was second? Ms. Kellogg?
I'll second.
Mary.
Thank you. Mayor Knows,
Yes.
Mr. Graham,
Yes.
Ms. Kellogg,
Yes.
Mr. McQueen.
Yeah.
Mr. Otto
Yes.
and Mr. Simoff.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Can I delegate the signature to you to sign them, or
If
unless
you
you,
so choose, absolutely.
that'd be easiest for me.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that would be easiest too, then you don't have to hang around and sign.
Sign it. All right, so just a summary of the pending reviews, 114 is due at our next meeting, 10/26. So we'll be dealing with one of the Brook applications. This is, across the street, right? That's number 2, number 3, TBD, that's, Ammerman lot, I think. And number 4 is. PPD also. Then, post over for. Honor. And the new one, let's see. Oh, no, this is the lot. This is the lot line. This is the lot line adjustment.
Yeah.
And then there is. Not complete.
Mr.
Correct.
Chairman, when is the Equinix coming back again?
This next, it's 2 weeks.
It's 2 weeks. So hearing what Mr. Otto was saying, there's 2 applications for that night as well.
But wait a minute.
That one is 11/16.
Okay. All right, like I said, next meeting, I apologize.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Claremont's coming.
Yeah,
That's across.
Did we get a stormwater management report from them? Do you know?
Which one?
The one on Claremont? Like the church?
Across.
Seen anything new?
Okay. We had asked them back in July or August when we came in to try and provide that.
I can check.
It's close to 10 days prior to the meeting, correct?
Today is 12,
Yeah.
but maybe they did submit, I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, I believe.
I'll go.
We did it before.
They asked for the jury.
Yes, it was on August 30th.
I have recused myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, they,
Burning in your memory.
yeah, they determined that they needed to come back.
And I have a question on the 2 Mine Brook urban renewal cases. They were deemed complete in July 25th. Are we gonna run out of time?
We're gonna ask them for an extension of time.
When they appear, they have to extend that decision.
When they appear for the first one?
Yeah, and then for the applications that we're not hearing,
Yeah,
we'll ask for it offline. And get
yeah,
it
yeah,
written.
I was already speaking to Tom Melvin about that.
For RPN?
So it's just a
Yeah,
one.
oh, no, sorry, no, yeah,
Yeah, they're working in tandem with the township, they're not gonna.
yeah,
Oh, yeah, number 3 and 4 on the list.
Maybe for.
right, yeah.
They need variances, so it's still days.
The variances have been granted.
They're asking for new variances.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's amended preliminary.
It's amended in the, for example, the mine hill, I don't want to get into the merits and everything, because it's not a hearing, but they're introducing like their variances. So
You'll get that
takes place in November.
You'll get the
Yes.
extension of time decision, right?
Yeah.
Well, 18 Mount area had to be a complete redesign. The eminent line. So, let's see, pretty much nothing to carry over. All right, no, that there is a second opportunity. We don't need, Matt, no executive session, right? Is any other discussion? And adjourn. Anything?
We don't need a motion to adjourn?
No, we don't. Roach will make a motion.
Okay.
We have period. Well, you can have that check, you know, you can just, we did check and, there's.
No, you don't need a motion. You don't technically need a motion.